In this session, we're going to look at pain and especially those that really affect our lives in a detrimental way, and look at some tips on how to move forward when we do go through pain. None of us is a stranger to it from the time we were born, right? When we come out of that womb, we start crying when the doctor spanks us, most likely, when we're getting teeth and they put Bonjela or some sort of gel to help our gums handle the pain of the teeth coming through, to time we're walking and perhaps fall down on our face and get picked up again by hopefully someone that cares, and consoling us. Riding the bike for the first time and tumbling off, and you look on your own body. Perhaps you've got scars here and everywhere where you recall the pain of falling over. Maybe first a relationship or relationships where you fell in love for the first time. It was a crush, or it could be multiple times, and then having your heart broken by some way. Maybe you've had friends that or colleagues misrepresent who you are. There's all kinds of pain, but one thing is guaranteed, that the more that we live life, the more guaranteed it is that we will face all kinds of pain, and some of them can be very, very difficult to handle. In my mid-40s, I went through the most difficult time in my life, and I was left. I lost everything, basically. My marriage, workplace that I was working in, assets, money, and I was back at home in my old bedroom, living with my parents. A very humbling place to be, and I spent 2 years trying to work my life out, trying to let go of things and move forward. And I learned seven tips, which I put into a book with other authors, 40 other authors, called Limitless Success. And I think it's important that we share our journey in some way. My mum inspired me to table parts of my life, and it's just a chapter from each of us. But you know what? It was a big step for me to be able um, to do something adventurous and share part of my journey. So let's have a look at these 7 steps which help me, and you may already be incorporating them, or you may decide to incorporate them if you're not already. So key one is take time before you're forced to take time. And I remember when I went through that hardest time, uh, and reflecting back on my life, I thought, I could have done something before this if I'd just stepped back a little bit and looked at the situation as a whole and gone, you know what? Yeah, there are some terrible things that happen, and quite a bit of it was out of my control. But there were some things that were in my control that I could have made different decisions. If I could, then I would have done something about it and perhaps avoided that situation. Although, would I change anything if I was to revisit again? Maybe not, because the person I am today is part and parcel of what I went through, as difficult as it was. Key number 2 is reach out and save yourself unnecessary pain. We don't have to walk the life alone. Yeah, there are some point in the life where we do walk alone, but most often, that there is someone, at least, that we can reach out to, a friend, a colleague, or whatever. It could be a stranger even, or a counselor, or someone like that. And it's good to have an outside person to speak into our lives, to give us a different perspective, and that perspective can lift us up from the doldrums of where we are. And I remember when I was going through that really, really difficult time, I had one key friend comes to my mind, and I was just sharing my heart about what was going on in my life, and he said, you know what, things could get worse, but you know what, let's go in a different direction, and it's going to not worsen where you are. And that was really, really helpful. I'm just summarizing, but it was really helpful, and I really respect him for saying that to me. Key 3 is you can change. Sometimes we feel like we're locked into a situation, or locked into the person we are, but no, there's no rule that says you shall be this person all your life. It doesn't matter. Your DNA may say that you're vulnerable to certain things. Your habits may dictate how you've lived your life up to that point, but you can always break away from your DNA. You can live better. With habits, you can break them with the help of different tools. And so we can always we always have the ability to transform our own life. And so never ever think that, that's it for me. You can change. Number 4 is look and listen carefully for life's clues. Learn early so you can save pain later. And when I was in that difficult time of life and I had quite a bit of time to reflect, I looked back and I could see different patterns through my life, like I mentioned before, different habits. But I hadn't listened, I had circumstances, persons talking into my life at different times. So, and when I say similar events even, that came across my life, but I would just, fob it off and say, oh, no, that's okay. That's nothing. Then I have a similar circumstance come up again, and I'd go, oh, that's interesting. It's like before, but I'd fob it off again. But when it came to this really difficult, the hardest time of my life, it's like I could recognize 1 or 2 patterns from previous events in my life, and the patterns that I'd taken in those occasions, I'd taken on this occasion, but I couldn't get away from it. And so if we learn early, sometimes maybe it's God or the universe or something else, trying to want to say, you know what? You need to learn this part to help you grow as a person. And if you don't, we're going to have to go round again so that you can learn it. We'll go through some time, maybe a different person, different circumstance, a different event, but it's going to be similar to this one until you learn the lesson. So, I finally learned the lesson and I started to move forward. And I hope that I've learned that lesson faster for any future times. And I believe I have. So key 5 is life is 100% our responsibility. Yeah, there's no one else to blame in the end. Sure, people can do things to us, but it's what we do once they've done it to us. How we move forward. How long will we blame someone? That's hurt us in our childhood or in our early young adulthood or even as an adult, because that person may pass away, may move out of our life, and if we're still living a life of being a victim, feeling like, oh, if it wasn't for them, I would be, this. Well, it's like, how long before we get over that? 5 years, 10 years, 20, a whole life? I've seen some people, they don't seem to have gotten over situations that happened to them for their whole lifetime. What a waste, when, yes, recognize that when persons have done things wrong to us, but also recognize our ability to bounce back, to move forward from them, to cast off what's happened, not in a bad way, not in a way that says I'm going to ignore what they did, no, in a way that says, I recognize that person was a part of a hurtful place in my life, but I'm not going to hold on to unforgiveness or whatever it is to allow them to continue to imprison me 1 month, 1 year, 10 years, a lifetime down the track. Yeah, so realize you and I have our own personal responsibility to recognize what's happened, to grieve, to accept and grieve what's happened, but also to move on. So key 6 is to clear the rubble of your life. So once you take responsibility for your life, it's like looking at your surroundings, your home, and seeing the mess that's around. Oh, wow, now that I can see better, I'm looking around and there's a lot of things I need to clear. Yeah, so start to clear the rubble of your life, start to clear the rooms in your mind, not just the rooms in your house, but the rooms in your mind, the feelings inside your heart, the imprisonment that's inside there. As we start to clear that, we're able to see and feel and experience more clearly a better future. And that leads to key point 7, is step forward and do something constructive with your life. When the life that I was leading came to a close and I ended at home with my parents, I thought about where to next. I couldn't see a way for quite some time, but outside inspiration, persons, things online, books, and many other things, the beauty of creation helped me to see that life could have a different path for me. And I started to move forward in that and go, you know what? that way is not just the only way. There are other ways, and I will move to find those other ways and constructively build who I am and where I'm going in life again. And you can too. So never, ever feel constrained to that your life is over, that the woes will remain, that other persons can keep a hold on you. Know that there's always chances, opportunities, and a responsibility that we have, and that we can take a hold of our lives and move forward again in a better and wonderful and hopefully a more deeper way. Take care, and I'll see you in another session.